Alright guys, how's everybody's evening going? As you see, the background is kind of different because I am sitting outside doing this video this time. It's me, Veronica, at it again. You may notice a lot of no noise in the background, but hey, it's outside, and the kids are playing. Anyways, like I was saying, today we are going to talk on the Shanda Sharar case. I don't know, something made me want to talk on this case because of the just pure evilness of it and the pure torture that this poor 12-year-old girl went through. It was just very much uncalled for. Guys, calm down a little bit. But, yeah, I mean, that's why I want to cover this case. I was also want to squeeze in here maybe the Parkland, Florida shooting, where, it happened at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, committed by Nicholas Cruz, who at the time, he actually had posted where he was going to go into the school and shoot people, and he actually had an actual body count that he wanted to achieve, which was 20, which he was not far from that. But guys, first we're gonna do one case at a time. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyways, let's jump into this. We're going to do the Shanda Sharar case first. And then we are going to go from there and maybe talk on the Parkland shooting, depending on how long the video is to the Shanda Sharar case. But with no further ado, let's get into it. Let's go, guys. Let me get it pulled up, and we will go from there. We're going to open. I know, guys, I am so slow when it comes to this. Y'all are probably like, why don't she have this ready already? But I don't. I am a very late starter at things when it comes to this, and hey, it is what it is. So we are going to have to go through my files and find it because my computer is just freaking crazy, guys. It's insane. There it is. I'm not going to say it. Alright, guys, with no further ado, now let's get into it. Let's go. Okay. This is 12-year-old Shanda Sharar. Shanda Sharar was once a popular and bubbly Hazelwood middle school girl. By all accounts, her outgoing personality meant that it was easy for her to make new friends. However, it was the outgoingness that started a terrifying chain of events one evening at a local school dance. Now, guys, remember this. She's only 12 years old, so they're at this middle school dance. So, it was back in 1991. Shanda Sharar met up with a former classmate, Amanda HEAVRIN, and the chemistry between the two girls quickly sparked, and they soon became romantic. So basically, they started this lesbian love affair. Such a young age, I think you're probably just experimenting with sexuality, like most of them do. Hey there. Like most of them do. Let's continue reading. Okay. Outside the dance, tempers started to brew as the couple was confronted by 16-year-old MENLINDA Loveless, who previously dated HEAVRIN and was now extremely jealous of this new relationship. So, as most things go when it comes to, like, your ex or somebody you're supposed to be talking to, somebody you're supposed to be doing this with, jealousy does, run high in them circumstances. So, yeah, I can only imagine. Over the next few weeks, Loveless threatened Sharar at school and even started sending notes to HEAVRIN, claiming that she wanted her new partner dead. Nobody realized just how far Melinda Lovelace was willing to go, especially not to the brutally murder Sharar. But Melinda Lovelace came from an abusive home where she would see her mother assaulted by her father many nights. To protect her daughter, Sharar's mother transferred her to the Our Lady of Perpetual Help Catholic School. So she took her out of public school, guys, and, put her in this, I guess it was a private religious school because it was a Catholic school. So the Catholic school was named Our Lady of Perpetual Help. And so she thought that would help protect her daughter, transferring her from public school to a private Catholic school. However, even moving her daughter would not protect her from the gruesome chain of events. Okay, it was a bitterly cold night on January 10th, 1992, and a teenage girl named Melinda Lovelace enlists 3 of her friends. Lori Trickett, 17, Hope Ripley, 15, and Tony Lawrence to help carry out one of the most senseless and brutal attacks and murders in Indiana history. By most accounts, Melinda Lovelace was the only girl of the 4 that knew Shanda was going to die that night, bringing along with her a sharp knife. This night, Shanda was spending the weekend with her father, and the girls drove to her house claiming that they wanted to take her to see her girlfriend, HEAVRIN, to see Amanda. So they lure her out of the comfort of her father's home and into this, dangerous, eventual murder that was going to happen. With her not knowing nothing. She had no idea whatsoever that anything was up, in the air like that. But it was just, I never knew teenagers would go this far, though. I know I've heard of teenage girls, doing the catfighting over the boy they liked or the boy they were supposed to be talking to, but murder, I don't know, guys. I was taking it just a little too far. But anyways. Shanda instructed the girls to come back after her parents went to sleep. They did, but Shanda had no idea that in the back seat, Melinda Lovelace was hiding under a blanket, ready to surprise her with a knife. Brutal, brutal, brutal. The meeting place Shanda thought they was going to was the Witch's Castle, a local and isolated abandoned home that was popular hangout amongst the local teens. So Shanda is having no idea, guys, at what is going on. She don't even know Melinda is anywhere in this car because she is hiding in the backseat under some blankets, ready to just leap on her, like I don't know, like a damn animal, basically. Anyways, the jealous lover and ringleader, Melinda Lovelace, leaped from the back of the car and held the knife against Shanda's throat. At this point, Shanda must have known that there was never a plan to take her to see her girlfriend and that she was in for an awful night. More than an awful night. That would be her last night alive. It's just, Lord. The foursome drove Shanda to a remote location where everyone but Lovelace imagined that she was just wanted to scare the shit out of Shanda. But it turns out they were dead wrong. For nearly 8 hours, guys, 8 hours, this poor 12-year-old girl was sexually assaulted, tortured, and this was for 8 hours, guys. 8 hours. Oh my God, I can only imagine. All the girls participated in it except for one, who was Tony Lawrence, which refused to participate in the heinous act, which, I can give Tony credit on this. That, was the best thing that she did, but also she could have prevented it. She could have, at least, stop, mama. She could at least have, been like, stop it, been like, please, could have helped Shanda in some way, but instead she basically hid and covered her eyes and imagined that it wasn't even happening, but really it was. So, that part she is guilty of, and I think she should get some punishment for that, but not as harsh as the other girls. At the remote trash dump in a densely overgrown area, Loveless and her gang stripped the clothes from Shanda's body, punched her repeatedly, and sprayed window cleaner into her eyes. Poor girl. Shanda was screaming, but since the girls was down a remote path, no one could hear those screams for help. So she was down, they took her far, 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 down this remote path. There was no houses, there was no neighbors, there was no nothing, nowhere. So her screams were she was screaming. You can only imagine the blood-curdling screams that was coming from her as these girls was prancing on her. They was spraying window cleaner in her eyes. They was punching her. They was stabbing her. Guys, can you only imagine? Could you? The torture continued for hours before the girls tossed Shanda into the back of the car's trunk. They attempted to slit Shanda's throat, but the knife brought by Loveless was too dull, so they, instead, repeatedly stabbed her in the chest. Believing Shanda is now dead, they drove to Lori Trickett's home to clean up and drink sodas. They had no idea that their victim was screaming inside the car's trunk. So at this point, Shanda is still clinging to life. She is still alive. She is screaming in this trunk, trying her best to keep her conscious, trying her best to get somebody or something to get her out, to help her, because you can, I can only imagine what was going through this 12-year-old girl's mind at this time. Why in the hell are they doing, what, over a jealous, love triangle, basically. Okay, from the house, Trickett and Loveless drove off together where they, found another remote location and stabbed Shanda several more times before sodomizing her with a tire iron. They returned to Trickett's home and they joked to their friend Ripley and said that what they just done. Now, approaching down the foursome stop at a gas station and purchased a 2-liter bottle of Pepsi, which they drank and immediately refilled with gasoline. Guys, you can only imagine what's coming, right? You can only imagine. The girls then drove to another remote location where the body was eventually found by a local hunter, Don Foley, the next morning. And pulled Shanda out of the trunk, wrapped in a blanket and whimpering the word "mommy" in a defeated tone. The girls then dragged Shanda Sharar to a clearing in the forest. So Shanda knew these were her last moments. She wanted her mother, and I know her mom wish she could be in there to comfort her in those last moments. But unfortunately, these devils did not allow her mother to be there, or allowed anyone at that matter to be there, because they killed her for no reason at all. It was senseless. The girls poured gasoline from the now filled Pepsi bottle and watched her as she is burned alive. Burned alive, guys. Okay. The killers drove off, but shortly came back to the body, where they believed she was completely burned up with no trace evidence. Upon seeing that she was not, they repeated the process of burning her body again. She was not burned once, guys, but twice. It says Shanda Sharar's back. There was knife wounds in her head, knife wound in her neck. It's crazy, guys. Besides the brutal murder of Shanda Sharar, one of the most disturbing facts of this case is that the girls ate breakfast at McDonald's immediately, guys, after the torturous ordeal and the killing. The girls laughed as they was comparing their sausage breakfast with Shanda Sharar's charred body. Who does that? Who? Later that afternoon, Loveless called her ex-girlfriend, Amanda, to brag about what she and her friends did to Shanda. Amanda did not believe that anyone could commit such an awful murder and played it off as a joke. Around this time, Lawrence, who refused to participate, and Rippy went to the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office where they confessed to the murder. The next day, the murderers 4 were all in handcuffs and the investigation began. So, the state of Indiana decided to try all the girls involved in the murder as adults, and all 4 accepted a plea bargain from the state to avoid the death penalty. Lawrence and Rippy, who was less involved in the torture, received 20 years and 50 years respectively, and both are now out of prison. Tricklet and Loveless both received a 60-year sentence and are still serving time till this day. In one recorded interview, Tricklet said, "I didn't know Shanda at all. I didn't go into that event and knowing anything was going to happen, wanting anything to happen." Tricklet then blames her role on peer pressure from Melinda Loveless. Lori Tricklet also appeared on the Dr. Phil show to explain her role in the murder. As previously stated, Melinda Loveless did have a rough childhood, being a victim of sexual abuse by her father, a Vietnam veteran. The father was later arrested for his abusive behavior and convicted. The Indiana prison system is attempting to rehabilitate Loveless, enrolling her in a program called I CAN, or Indiana Canine Assistant Network, where she trains puppies to become service dogs for the disabled. The progress so inspires Shanda's mother so much that she donated a puppy named Angel for her to train. So Shanda's mother actually forgave Melinda and donated a puppy named Angel after her daughter to Melinda. Let's see if they got her response in here. The progress, okay, we read that part. I personally hope there can eventually be full forgiveness for this awful crime. So, but on the documentary that I seen on the Snapped series, I think, or may not have been Snapped, or may have been, but I know that she actually got to meet Shanda's mother, and Shanda's mother told her who she was and why she had donated that dog to her and why his name was Angel. And she named it Angel for her daughter, because she know her daughter would have forgave Melinda, would have forgave the other pupils involved in this case. Her daughter was not the type to hold any grudges. She was just a happy, outgoing, typical 12-year-old, wanting to be that 13, ready to be that teen, and she even asked her mother, I remember hearing, to be called a 13-year-old whenever she just turned 12. But, you got to do that 12, you're 12, but she wanted to be 13. She wanted to be so much growner than what she was. And that's typical of any teenagers at that age, or, it's typical for any 12-year-old to want to be in the teens, to want to fit in and be more, preposterous and into that. But when Amanda came into the picture is when things for Shanda just went completely downhill. Shanda had no idea about this. Obviously, Amanda was, kind of the cause of all this, because she could have told Shanda that she had a girlfriend at the time, and maybe it would have prevented all this from happening, because I'm pretty sure Shanda would not have gotten involved if she knew that Amanda and Melinda were together. But unfortunately, Amanda never mentioned this to Shanda until it was too late, and they was too far into this murderous rage that Melinda lashed out on the 12-year-old girl that didn't have no idea. She was probably just basically experimenting with her sexuality at the time too, you know, because at 12, I honestly don't think if you are, lesbian or gay, or, you don't know, you experiment and you find out. But unfortunately for Shanda, she never got that chance to, experiment at all, other than, with Amanda, which cost her life, unfortunately. Well, guys, that will be all for today. Rest in peace, Shanda. Hope you rest easy, and my condolence goes out to her family, respectfully. Anyways, guys, remember, love is love. Always be kind, stay beautiful, and always put God first. I love y'all. I'm out.